South Wigston Driving Test Routes. This is test route number 11, and it's 11 of 15, and we're just coming to the end of Tigers Road, and we're turning left into Saffron Road, and this is where it begins. There's 15 test routes in South Wigston, and this is number 11. And if you want to see the other test routes, then you can just press the subscribe button and they're all there. We're going to turn immediately right here, and that's going to take us into Gloucester Crescent. So it's a mini roundabout. Got to be steady as we go around there, making sure that we don't go over the roundabout itself. And then that takes us into Gloucester Crescent. But we won't be on Gloucester Crescent for very long, because we're going to turn left now, and that's going to take us in. This is the first left, and it's going to take us into Cumberland Road. Just around about here, you'll start to do your your manoeuvres. You might do an emergency stop or a controlled stop along this bit, and you might be pulled in on the right hand side of the road and asked to reverse back a couple of car lengths. And so it begins almost straight away, and they use this estate, it's called Fairfield Estate, to do quite a lot of these manoeuvres. When we get to the end of the road, we're going to turn right, and that will take us into Dorset Avenue, which used to be a favourite. There's a car coming, so I'm just going to wait here for a few seconds. Dorset Avenue used to be a favourite for them to do 3-point turns, or turn in the roads as they used to call them, but obviously that's not part of the test anymore, and so you don't need to do that. We're going to go all the way to the end of Dorset Avenue, keeping well clear of the parked cars. It's quite a wide road, so we can give the parked cars a good old clearance there. We're back into the left, and then we can see there's some more cars that are parked on this side of the road, on both sides actually, and we're going to just move into now so that we're in the centre of the space. We can just guide the car through. There's nothing coming the other way. Get yourself out nice and early and get yourself lined up, so that as you go past them, then you don't need to be steering or worrying about them at all. Follow this road around, and when we come to the end of this is Dorset Avenue, we'll be turning left, and that's going to take us into Gloucester Crescent, or back into Gloucester Crescent, should I say. Going all the way to the end of Gloucester Crescent. Fairly straight road, nothing too much to worry about. And we'll be turning right into Stonesby Avenue. There's a traffic light there, pedestrian crossing, which has gone to red, which has stopped that traffic from that side and has given us an opportunity to move on. So that was nice, that was lucky. And just looking at this bridge, it's quite narrow, there's a big lorry, so we're just going to take our time as we go through. We're coming into Wigston now. We're on Stonesby Avenue, we're going to take the first left here, and that's going to take us into Shackerdale Road. So turning left from Stonesby Avenue into Shackerdale Road, and again we're not going to be on Shackerdale Road for that long, because we're going to turn left immediately again, and that's going to take us into Brixham Drive. Cars parked on both sides here, quite a narrow gap. I'm going to go quite slowly through it. If you want to see this whole test route listed out, As with all the other ones, you can look into the description box underneath the video, and it will all be listed out there, so you can follow that. You can copy and paste them. You can do whatever you want with that route, that listed out route, if you like. I'm quite happy with that. Not that I can stop you anyway. So yeah, just make use of it. That's the thing. Make good use of it. Run this Wigston Drive. We're going to be turning right soon, and we're going to turn right just here, and that's taking us into Headington Way. All of this area again is all good area to do kind of manoeuvres and reversing bits and pieces. So don't be surprised if you do that quite early on in your driving test if you come around these kind of roads. Take it nice and steady along here, and we're going to turn left at the end of this Headington Road then, and that's going to take us back on to Shackerdale Road. Seems to be clear. Not much traffic about today. Just following the road around. Quite a sharp bend in the road here. I always use second gear on this bit, just to keep the car under control. And then we're going to turn right when we get to these traffic lights down here, and that's going to take us on to Asquith Way. Now the thing about this, because we're going to turn right, it's quite a junction really. We're going to keep close to the centre lines. As we come around this bit, we're going to stay close to the centre lines, and that's going to take us straight onto this arrow, which we can use to take us around, and then we'll turn into the left-hand lane onto Asquith Way. But it's a good idea to get yourself organised before you get to the junction in order to make the junction safe. We're going to turn right at the next set of lights. So what we're doing is we're changing lanes into the right-hand lane. And there's a little slip road here that we can use, and that means we no longer need the signal, because from this point on we can only go right. We're going to have a green arrow that's going to help us out here. When the green arrow comes on, when our green arrow, should I say, comes on, what that means is that the traffic opposite, they'll be on red, and it will mean that it's safe for us to go. Or should be, if they're you know, applying all the rules. I suppose they will do. Normally do, don't they, actually? Very rare that people don't do that. So anyway, here we go. It looks like they're about to change. There is our green arrow, and you can see that the traffic opposite is all on red and it's all stationary, and that will take us around. This takes us into Welford Road. We've turned again into the left hand side of Welford Road. There's two lanes that merge into one at this point, so we've turned into the left hand lane. Always use the left hand lane where you can. And this is a 30-mile-an-hour road, and we're taking it really steady along here, Welford Road, and we're coming along here. That sound is telling us there's a speed camera around here somewhere, and there's a sign for it. This is where, at this point, Welford Road changes into Leicester Road, becomes Leicester Road, and we're on our way to Wigston from that. Keeping it a steady 27. I've not seen any speed cameras. We're going to stay in our lane here. There's always cars parked in this lay-by, which is fair enough, isn't it? It's lay-by, so that's okay. And we're just going to give them good wide berth, really, so that we don't go too close to the door mirrors as much as we can without going into the next lane over. And you can see that the next lane over is marked out at the end of every junction. as we come up to the set of traffic lights here, we're going to stay in that left-hand lane. We can go into the lay-by to get in there, it's not a problem. The line's broken, so that's fine. But at this point, you'll get the instruction to turn right at the next roundabout, taking the third exit. So what you'll need to do is change lanes. So you check your mirrors and signal, and then you'll check your right door mirror again, making sure that the lane is clear, and then moving over. Try and change lanes. If you need to change lanes, try and do that as early as you can as well, because it just saves you problems when you get close to the junction and it's all a bit busier. Anyway, we're going to be turning right at the roundabout. The traffic lights are on red, and that's good because it gives us time just to consider this roundabout and what happens on it. It's where McDonald's is in Wigston, and it's a spiral roundabout. So that means we're going to start off next to the island itself, and we're going to end up the furthest away from the island as we move off. So if you look at the island now, you can see we could almost say there's lanes 1 and 2. At present we're in lane 2, and we're going to stay in lane 2, but we'll end up in lane 1, which is furthest away. And hopefully you'll be able to see that as we go around. You'll see the road markings. The traffic lights should change just about now, and then we can move on. There they go. Oh, I'm still in neutral. There you go. So we're in lane 2 at the moment. We can see that takes us round to the right, and we're going to go forward and then around into lane 1, and then we're going to come off the roundabout like that. This is Wakes Road that we're on now, W-A-K-E-S, Wakes Road, and we're going to turn left when we get to the end of it. As we get to the end, strangely, it takes us back onto Leicester Road, which will become Long Street as we go further into Wigston itself. Not many people about today, not at all. But this is a 20-mile-an-hour zone. So we've got to remember that, making sure that we don't let the speed go above 20. And just take us nice and steadily along here. Coming down to this roundabout that's right in the middle of Wigston. We're going to go straight ahead, and actually the speed limit changes at this roundabout from 20 back to 30, and now it becomes Long Street. So it's just one of those things where the same road seems to be called different things as you go along it. There's quite a bit of that around Wigston and Blaby. I don't know why that is, but it is. Just easing around. Again, not too busy today. This little area here is normally quite busy, a few pedestrians and things. For some reason today not quite sure why. It is a Friday. Okay, so we're going to turn left at the end of the road, and there's a mini roundabout there. And it's a mini roundabout, but it is the end of the road. So if I were you, I'd drop the car into first gear. It's a bit blind there, and we're going to need to creep forward. Not at this moment, because there's a big lorry, another van's gone. So what we're going to do is creep forward, keep looking, and take ourselves around. It's a little bit blind, so use first gear. This has now taken us into Moat Street. And we're just following this road along. We'll be turning right soon. That's that. There you go. There's a big lorry coming here, and it's not a very wide road, so I'm just going to wait in this little section to give him room to get through. Now hopefully I've given him more room than he needs. I have done. And that's a wave, thank you very much, sir. And in the end, that's now given me more room than I need. So it's a win-win. At the end, what we're going to do next is turn right, not at the end of the road, but the next road on the right. With a yellow box junction here, we are allowed to wait in here if we're turning right and our exit's clear. We don't need to wait today, but that's going to take us into Horswell Lane. And Horswell Lane is a long road, and it's another one of these roads that's going to change its name halfway down. So it can be quite confusing. I suppose if you're a kind of a postman and it's your first day at work, it's a nightmare. I don't know, I've never been a postman, but I'm sure that it must be a nightmare. Or a delivery driver, someone like that trying to find an address, and you turn into a road, it's called one thing, get to the end and it's called something else. We actually should be able to see where the road changes its name, because there should be like name plaques, name signs where it changes. I wonder if we'll find any. The thing about this road is, though, it's quite hilly for a start off, so you might be asked to pull in and do some hill starts, or a hill start. And also there's car parks, there's a couple of car parks just off of it, so it's a good place to pull in and do some bay parking. It's away from the driving test centre. And also you might see the odd dotted car that's parked on the side of the road here, and so they can do some parallel parking. So it's quite handy for driving examiners to bring, or for the driving test people to bring them around here, because it's very flexible. And here's one of the car parks on your right there that they use, which is where the co-op is, and the one that's next to the co-op. And here's a car that's parked on the road, so ideal opportunity there to do a parallel park. So it was Horswell Lane, and at some point it's changed into Launceston Road. And Launceston is spelled a little bit like Leicester, in that there's a C and an E in there that you don't pronounce. Taking it really steady around this bit, obviously, because there's, you know, little kiddie winkles going to school, and you know, well, be careful. And there's signs there that's advising us to do 20 at the times when you know, the schools are kind of at the either end of the day when it's school run time. Following the road round again. Now, if you look up the road here, you can see we're going to climb a hill, and the road bends around to the right. Very important to keep yourself in on the left as the road bends around to the right, particularly today because there's a car there. But very often you'll see people drift over and they'll cross the lines in the centre of the road, or they'll cross the centre of the road, and of course that's dangerous. So do be careful of that, because that's one of the things, subtle things that they're looking out for. We're going to turn left. We're on Launceston Road. We're going to turn left at the end of it. There's a mini roundabout here, and we're going to turn left, and that's going to take us into Station Road in Wigston. You'll meld into one, don't they, sometimes? Around the lorry. Again, lots of space on the opposite side of the road, so I'm giving the lorry a good wide berth. You know, there could be people working at the back of that. We want to make sure that we're going to miss them if they are, or that we're not ever going to get even close to them. Along this road around here at school times, generally, particularly at the kind of end of day school times, this can be very, very busy. This crossing in particular can be very, very busy. It's on red at the moment. There's not many kids going to school just now, is there, because of the lockdown. It's just coming to an end, and so things are reopening very slowly. And there's more lights here. We're just going to go straight ahead. This road is going to take us from Wigston into South Wigston. Just climbing the hill over the railways. Down the hill, it's going to take us past Lidl and Tesco's, just to give you some context. And here is a sign that says South Wigston, so we've now entered from Wigston into South Wigston. And we're just carrying along here. There is some there's a roundabout just by Tesco's here, and we're gonna follow our road. So we're going straight ahead. It looks like a left turn. It's just straight ahead. We're absolutely fine, and we'll go through there. And then we'll come to another roundabout straight away. And there's a succession now of different things to consider. First of all, there's the speed bumps, and then there's the roundabouts. And again, we're going to go straight ahead at this mini roundabout here now. It looks like all the traffic's coming straight ahead from our right, so we're fine. We can carry on. And there's a cycle lane there as well. So just your position on the road is quite vital at this point. You don't want to be drifting into the cycle lane. You don't want to be drifting over the top of the mini roundabouts. And you want to make sure that you're staying in the centre of your lane or where you should be. And we're coming next to some more traffic lights, and we're going to turn right at the second set. So because we're going to turn right at the second set, we'll move into the right hand lane at this first set here. So that's the first set, we've got through those. And now we're going to turn right at this set of traffic lights here, just by the BP garage. Lights on green. This white car should actually move into the centre of the junction. They've not done that, I'm not quite sure why. They're moving in there now. And we can move in and go around. That's taken us back from what turned into Blaby Road, and now we're back onto Saffron Road. And this is, we're coming to the end of test route number 11 for South Wigston. Again, if you want to see all the other test routes, just look in the description, they're all there. And oh sorry, if you want to see the test route listed out, it's in the description. If you want to see all the other test routes for Wigston or South Wigston, then just press subscribe, and you can see them all on the Driving Test Wizard channel, and you can follow those. In the meantime, that's test route number 11. I shall see you in the next video, which will be test route number 12.